When Kid Buu first emerged, he was described as being the most dangerous of all the Boos that we had seen up until that point. And people, the fans, clearly took most dangerous as most powerful, and this could not be further from the truth. And the source of this controversy, this debate, is actually in Dragon Ball manga chapter 508, and this is where the Supreme Kai is pretty much describing Kid Buu right after the debut of Kid Buu to everybody besides Supreme Kai. He obviously knew from before. Point is that he is describing him, and Kaioshin, aka Supreme Kai, goes on to state that next to be absorbed was the fat but kind and gentle Dai Kaioshin. That's the Grand Supreme Kai. The Majin Buu that Bibidi created was evil itself, a failed creation that even Bibidi himself couldn't handle, but by absorbing the Dai Kaioshin, he somehow became controllable. And the other Kai responds with, and just kind of like in an agreement with, is that so he was finally completed, which is to say that this current small Buu is the initial most troublesome one. Supreme Kai responds with, and this is where the confusion comes, yes, the heart which he gained by going so far as to lower his power through absorptions has returned once again to the way it was. He has no self-control whatsoever. He has become evil itself. And to elaborate, really, Supreme Kai said that the Grand Supreme Kai was absorbed and his presence is what weakened Buu. So people may have took that as saying like Buu without the Grand Supreme Kai is way stronger than Buu with the Grand Supreme Kai. And if you take the Grand Supreme Kai away, then Kid Buu is stronger. But more dangerous doesn't mean you're more stronger, and being more stronger doesn't mean you're more dangerous. You have to read the manga and watch the show in Japanese with paying attention to context clues. It's just like if you were watching the MCU, right? You wouldn't go to Avengers Endgame right away. You'd start with Iron Man, or at least Avengers 1, I'd hope. Point is, think about this. Majin Buu with the Grand Supreme Kai was certainly as strong, if not stronger, than Kid Buu in terms of what the capability was, right? But the problem was is that Majin Buu, aka the Fat Buu, had a childish personality and wanted sweets more than murder. He was very strong and potentially dangerous, but he was a big child at heart. And then you also have Super Buu, on the other hand. He's the evil controlling the body, right? The image of the evil that was within the Fat Buu came out, absorbed that Fat Buu, and became Super Buu. And he still wanted his sweets, and fighting strong people was his thing, right? He even waited for Gotenks and to go ahead. And yeah, I know that there's the Planet Extinction attack, but Piccolo told him to do that. We really don't know what Super Buu would have done if Piccolo didn't suggest that. From Super Buu all the way up to Buuhan, he was incredibly stronger than the Fat Buu, astronomically. And was he more dangerous? Maybe, maybe not. But the thing is, he can be dealt with reason, right? If you intrigued him or something interested him, he'll play with you. You might be able to live long enough to figure out a plan to win. Where Kid Buu is just going to go in and murk you. He's just gonna kill you. And people tend to forget that stuff, right? Kid Buu wasn't kind. He didn't want candy. He didn't want to fight people, and he didn't try to be a martial artist. He wanted to kill people one by one and blow planets up and kill evil. That's it. He's evil incarnate, right? But as the Fat Buu, he did nice things like healing the blind boy or befriending Mr. Satan and the dog. Kid Buu would have just destroyed them all, destroyed the planet in one shot and moved on. And this is why Kid Buu is the deadlier opponent. He's merciless. He cannot be reasoned with, and you can't talk to him. He has no good in him. He isn't going to spare you. He's just going to kill you and move on. With that being said, I really want to go ahead and take a deep dive into this debate. Kid Buu versus Buuhan, right? And I'm here to tell you that Buuhan slaps the shit out of Kid Buu. But I want you to know this is going to be a fair debate, as in we're going to go through all the information together, and I'm going to show you how I got to my conclusion that Buuhan is without a doubt stronger than Kid Buu. So without further ado, sit back, chill out, and get ready to learn some shit. Also, by the way, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you can, please subscribe and hit that like button. It truly does help out the channel. I'd very much appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so we got a lot to cover, and we're gonna go ahead and start with all the confusing statements that truly add to the Kid Buu side within this debate. And I will be debunking this stuff as we go through the video. But let's go ahead, let's just go through all the evidence that the Kid Buu fans want to use. Let's bring your attention to Dragon Ball Z episode 279, titled Seize the Future, a decisive battle with the universe at stake. Here we see Goku and Kid Buu really about to start their fight in the anime, right? This is after Super Saiyan 2 and Kid Buu have been fighting for a little bit. Goku states, and I quote, "Majin Buu, you are one of the densest guys, but your power, speed, and powers of recovery are all incredible. You're on a whole different level from all the Buus up till now." Now, I just want you to keep in mind, and we'll elaborate on this more later, Toei wanted to make this thing grandiose. This was the ending of Dragon Ball Z at that time, and as they knew it, they wanted to make it an epic ending. So of course they want the last guy to be the strongest. But we'll find out more about that later. Let's just go ahead and move forward to Dragon Ball Z episode 274. I should have said move backwards, but either way. Titled Nightmares and Illusions, Goku and Gohan's father-son confrontation. And this is what a lot of debaters use when trying to defend Kid Buu. Because here in this episode, we see Goku and Vegeta fighting an illusion, essentially, of Gohan, Piccolo, Gotenks. And Goku states in the episode that they have the same power as the real characters. Now, even in Dragon Ball Daizenshu 7 guidebook, these fake characters are explained as, in quotes, fake super warriors. And what the description says is that they're just illusions made from Buu's memory and their power is on par with their real counterparts. But I'm going to break down later on how that cannot be further from the truth, that Super Saiyan 3 Goku is not stronger than Ultimate Gohan, which I have a video about. I'll go ahead and post it up in the top right corner right now. And there's no way Vegeta Super Saiyan 2 would have been able to keep up with both Piccolo and Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. I mean, he does have more battle experience, but still, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks is a pretty big power. We're not going to get into that, but I do have a video about Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks' power. I'll put right here in the right corner as well. Check that out. And I'm not trying to plug these other videos, that just I keep remembering them as we're talking. But the point is that there's no way that those doppelgangers were on the same playing level field in power as the real characters. But let's move on, right? More Kid Buu evidence. Episode 285. Ultra impressive, the Genki Dama from everyone is finished. And this is actually, I want to bring up the point where the narrator is describing the events of the previous episode, 284. And the narrator actually states, and I quote, "This is the purely evil, absolute most powerful, ultimate Majin Buu." And guys, again, this just goes to the mega hype, the mega build up that Toei was trying to build. And I know what you're thinking, oh, well, it's two different continuities. I know what you're saying, but I'm going to even show you how they both are a similar continuity in a way.
Subscribe if you like Majin Buu.
Hold up, we're going to address that in a little bit. Let's move on. We got Kid Buu's voice actor, Kozo Shioya, states that this pure form of Buu possesses the greatest of strength. But, I mean, he's the voice actor. You know what I'm saying? Now, there is the Toriyama interview. There's a lot of fake ones out there, but there is the legit one where he's talking about, in several parts of Dragon Ball, the most powerful character is actually the smallest, cutest, and youngest, and he refers to Frieza, Majin Buu, and young Goku. But, I mean, you can't take this as 100% legit, right? And if New Times you want to maybe say Kid Buu's stronger, there might be a debate for that. We're going to address that later on too. But Akira Toriyama also said young Goku. And this is obviously not correct, because young Goku in his max power was like only Piccolo Jr. power level at the 23rd Budokai. But for the original show of Dragon Ball Z and the original manga, Buuhan all day is the strongest. And I still think Buuhan's the strongest no matter what of the new stuff. Regardless though, you guys are probably thinking like, alright dude, you already proved your argument wrong. But no, I'm not wrong. And the reason I'm not wrong is we need to think about this logically. Think about it. How is Goku keeping up with Ultimate Gohan? And how is Vegeta taking on a Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks and Piccolo? Obviously, Goku is misgauging here, and I don't care about the statements in the Daizenshu 7. Yeah, some of them are correct, some of them are not. I'm telling you, we're going to go through it. Just stay with me. You're going to have to use some critical thinking, and you're going to have to look at context clues, and you're going to have to truly understand logic to understand what Akira Toriyama actually wrote, what the show is actually telling us, and we're going to do this by looking at the actual story and the facts within universe. You can more than tell that Kid Buu doesn't even compare to Buuhan when you address the series this way. Alright, so now we covered the Kid Buu statements. Now we're going to go into the Buuhan statements, okay? And we got quite a bit, so I want you guys to sit back and relax. We're going to go over these passages, and I'm going to be doing little explanations in between and then do a full breakdown afterwards before we close out. So, starting with chapter 486 of the Dragon Ball manga, and this is after Fat Buu transforms into Super Buu, or I should say the Gray Buu rather, and Piccolo states, and I quote, "Have you noticed the change in Majin Buu's ki? He's changed. He's become pure evil, and his body has become more suited toward battle." And Krillin is like all confused, asking, is this bad? Yo, Dende's shaking, Piccolo's trembling, so Krillin can already feel that this is bad. They're tweaking balls. Obviously, they feel that Super Buu is astronomically stronger than Fat Buu, and that's important to remember. Also, what's important to remember, within the same chapter, Goku actually states from the world of the Supreme Kai, and I quote, "This is Majin Buu, right? This ki. What is it?" And what I'm trying to point out here is the obvious, right? Goku and Supreme Kai and Kibito Kai can all sense Super Buu from the Kaioshin realm. Oh, and Gohan. Whereas before, they were not saying anything like that about Fat Buu. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. Let's move on. Let's go to chapter 499 of the manga, when Super Buu transforms into Buu Tanks after absorbing Go Tanks. And Buu states and asks Gohan, "What do you think? My strategy succeeded safely. This is the moment that will never appear again, no matter what the future may hold. This is the birth of the mightiest, strongest Majin Buu." And so I know a lot of you guys are gonna say like, oh, he obviously didn't remember about Kid Buu, and it's like, no, it's not obvious. He did remember about Kid Buu. You wanna know why? And I'm gonna elaborate more on this scene later, but just to extrapolate off of this quote from Buu Tanks, he of course remembers Kid Buu, because when Goku and Vegeta are inside his head and Vegeta's about to pull Fat Buu, in both the manga and the anime, Super Buu says, "No, don't, that won't be me anymore." Meaning he knew he would go back to Kid Buu, who was just a thoughtless, evil killing machine. And he wanted his candy, and he wanted to fight strong opponents still. Did not want to lose what little self of himself that he had. I hope that makes sense. Let's move on though. Chapter 501, right? We have the Elder Kai warning Goku about going to Earth to rescue Gohan from Buu Tanks. And he says, you know, I hate to say it, but I don't think the two of you could win if you went at him together. And I bring this up to really state how Ultimate Gohan and Goku Super Saiyan 3 would not have been enough for Buu Tanks. And I'm telling you, we're going to have way deeper elaboration after I get through these quotes. In the next chapter, 502, Goku shows up in the battlefield and Buu is asking him if he came to save everyone. He mentions that he's in a fundamentally different dimension than the Majin Buu from back then. And when he's saying back then, he's referring to Super Saiyan 3 Goku and the Fat Buu's fight, which we know later on in the series when Goku's fighting Kid Buu, he states that he could have defeated the Fat Buu when he was a Super Saiyan 3 but decided not to give the kids a chance because he wasn't going to be there forever. Regardless, the point here is that anytime different dimension or the word dimensions used in any of the power scans and power articles that come out about movies, characters, whatever related to Dragon Ball, when they state a different dimension, it's like the new most powerful thing, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, I'm just bringing it up to state how much stronger Buu Tanks is already than Ultimate Gohan and Goku. And in that same chapter, we have Buuhan being debuted, right? Buu Tanks absorbs Gohan, and now he says, I've powered up even more than before. So we know at this point Buuhan stronger than Buu Tanks stronger than Super Buu stronger than Gray Buu, presumably Fat Buu stronger than Evil Buu, and maybe Kid Buu due to the power capacity within him because of the evil, but he was not able to access it, thus he would still lose to all the other Buus, including Kid Buu, so I'll give you that. But I just want to establish kind of what we've already talked about, right? Now moving on, right before we see Vegeta for the first time in chapter 503, Goku's trying to get Vegeta to use the Potara with him, and he says there's no other way to beat Majin Buu, right? And this is important because Goku brings this up many times, and we're going to cover all those times. That's when he's fighting Buuhan, Buu Tanks, Super Buu, any version of Super Buu, he has this mentality. He does not feel that he could beat. We're going to dive into that more soon. Going on to chapter 506, and this is after now Goku and Vegeta, they're back to normal after Vegeta. They revert Buuhan back to Super Buu, right? That means Vegeta and Goku have like ripped apart Piccolo, Trunks, Goten, and Gohan from the innards of Super Buu. And it's important to cover here that Goku and Vegeta are talking. Goku says Buu's power should have fallen significantly. We're almost there. See, look, the size of his ki is completely different than before. So see, he's cognizant that Buuhan's powers dropped to Super Buu, obviously, right? And Vegeta even agrees. You can see because he's like, all right, let's blast out of here and escape. So he's in agreement. But Vegeta's not thinking, and Goku even stops him, and Vegeta doesn't fight this, right? So Goku states, wait, even though Buu has returned to normal a whole lot, we're still simply no match for his strength if we go out like this. We'll definitely be done in. And for those of you that want to say, oh, it's because they were small, they were mini inside of his head. No, obviously they weren't going to beat him like that. He was saying if they go outside, which he knew they would get back to full size, most likely, that was their assumption. That's why they tried going outside in the first place, obviously. And he's very capable that he has Super Saiyan 3 and he has Vegeta, so why wouldn't he want to fight him? We're going to cover that more later. Now, in the same chapter even, they're still talking about how they're no match for Buu, and Goku says, oh, there's one way we can win, and Vegeta says, yep, you guessed it, you want to say fusion, right? Goku says, the only way to win is fusion. We'll die if we go out there. We can't fight him. I mean, come on, guys, 2 plus 2 is 4, but don't worry, we're going to elaborate because I want to break everything down. Moving on to chapter 508. And this is after now Buu goes into his Kid Buu form, right? So pay attention. Vegeta, and I quote, says, look, he shrunk down quite a bit. Goku says, we did it. This way we might be able to manage something. And note, he shrunk is said in Chizimu, which typically refers to physical shrinking. And throughout Dragon Ball, that term is never used to refer ki diminishing. So Vegeta's probably just talking about how Buu's body has literally shrunk. And that doesn't mean that Buu's ki didn't go down as well, but it's not what Vegeta's talking about in particular right here. And I want to give a big credit to Herms. I'm going to leave a link to his Twitter because I got this explanation on the word Chizimu from one of his forum posts on the Kazenshu. Thank you, Herms. Moving on. So the point of bringing that up is to tell you, like, hey, look, I'll admit if there's dialogue that doesn't prove that Kid Buu is weaker. And right there, he's not talking about his ki, clearly, right? Now, in the next chapter, I just want you to pay attention. Goku is about to fight Kid Buu, and Goku says, all right, I better go all out right from the start. And Vegeta's like, let me see the Super Saiyan 3 with my own eyes, Kakarot. And Goku says, is that alright? You just might not be able to get your turn. I could say this now, but the truth is that with the Fat Buu, I would have been able to defeat him at the time with Super Saiyan 3. However, I wanted the young guys to manage something for the Earth's sake. So, I just want everyone to acknowledge right now, at this point, and this is after Super Buu, Buu tanks, Buuhan, Vegito, and the debut of Kid Buu. Obviously, Goku and Kid Buu are about to start their fight. Goku is stating that he definitely could have beaten the Fat Buu, and throughout the fight with Kid Buu, Goku and Vegeta are sure that with Goku at max power, he'd be able to defeat him. And let's move on to our last chapter, right? We're going to cover chapter 509 of the Dragon Ball manga, and it's just the Elder Kai telling Supreme Kai, hey, or Kibito Kai, I should say, give your Potara to Goku and Vegeta. If they merge again, then this should be an easy victory. So with Kid Buu, they still probably needed to use the Potara, and that would have been an easy victory. But still, the attempt in fighting him is what's for question, right? So let's go ahead, let's start breaking down all of these quotes, and let's break down some guidebooks, interviews with people that were involved with the show heavily. And most importantly, we need to break down and simplify the narrative story that is being told to us. But I digress. Let's get started. In chapter 509, we see pretty much the only feat by Kid Buu that can be quantifiable, and it's not really, but he learns instant transmission right after seeing it once. And in the manga, Kid Buu just finds Goku and Vegeta and teleports to the Supreme Kai's world in a matter of seconds after regenerating in a matter of seconds from Earth's destruction. His ki doesn't run out. He has incredible regeneration. And remember, in the show, actually, right, because the show is the continuity, right? That's the continuity that says that Kid Buu is stronger. Okay, so let me ask you this. How come in the show Goku and Vegeta had to raise their power for Kid Buu to find their location, but in the manga, if you can see right here, nope, he just knows, gets right there, right? And they don't have to power up at all. They're actually arguing. But remember earlier we talked about something. What? Oh, Super Buu's power was felt from Supreme Kai's world. Okay, all right. So moving on, right? Speaking of feats, let's bring up the main and one of the only ones by Buuhan, again, that's quantifiable in a way, and that's him cracking the dimension with this ki, right? He's really breaking down the walls and fabric of the universe, literally, and this is verified by Dende, and Vegeta says if he does not stop him, the universe will be crushed by an alternate dimension, and the narrator actually states that Majin Buu has destroyed the wall between dimensions, so he literally already did, and they were already converging into one, and this really implies that Buuhan is universal level, to be honest. Literally, this type of power isn't really even seen again until Dragon Ball Super and the introduction of God Ki, right? To extrapolate more, in Daizenshuu 7, Buuhan uses this technique that had been previously called Vice Shout, so Super Buu was even capable of using that, and it got expanded later on into a move that the Daizenshuu 7 guidebook named Outer Space. And the description within that book simply states, and I quote, "Overwhelmed by Vegito, Buu went into a frenzy and generated this power which causes distortions to appear in the space around him. It seems that his power was also what enabled Buu to escape from the Room of Spirit and Time. This space would cover the living world and wipe out the universe." Yeah, just like I said. And this kind of proves that Super Buu is even stronger than Kid Buu, right? You gotta remember, Kid Buu did scream when he was first shown, and it didn't create any wormholes or any alternate dimension openings, but Super Buu did and Buuhan did. But okay, honestly, let's get to the nitty gritty, right? You can clearly see at this point that Goku and Vegeta know that they're no match for Super Buu, right? When we're reading the manga and watching the show, when Goku and Vegeta are fighting Super Buu inside Buu's head, or they're fighting Buuhan, no matter what, they know they cannot win. Goku honestly tries to avoid the fight time and time again without using fusion. But with Kid Buu, both Goku and Vegeta at least gauged that they had a chance and they were more comfortable fighting without the fusion. And this is where the common sense needs to come in, right? Why wouldn't they try to fight Buuhan by themselves if he was weaker than Kid Buu? That makes no sense. Think about it, right? They wanted to fight Kid Buu fair one-on-one, and they thought they might have a chance, but with Buuhan they didn't think so, so they used fusion. But Kid Buu is actually stronger, so let's use fusion against Buuhan and let's fight Kid Buu one-on-one, even though Kid Buu's stronger. What? Come on, in what world, guys? And to play devil's advocate, I'll even say that Kid Buu was stronger than Vegeta and Goku initially thought. I mean, it took a spirit bomb by the entire Earth, a restored Goku, to beat Kid Buu, right? And I just want to take a second to tell you that I'm being very transparent, showing you all of the data that I have collected. And if we break down the manga or the anime, the dialogue we went over earlier from the manga, a lot of that is in the anime and still holds true. And the anime really just added on things again to make the ending, the gravity of the ending, way more heavy and significant. They wanted it to be epic. But when you look at the story though, in a normal way of viewing any kind of movie slash show, right, in order, the fact still remains that in both continuities of the manga and the anime, Goku and Vegeta, especially Goku, did not want to fight Super Buu, Buu-Tanks, or Buuhan without the fusion. Not at all. Goku was confident though in his Super Saiyan 3 form to be able to beat Kid Buu, and while I do believe they were equal on power, or really close, he just could not match Kid Buu's regeneration and his stamina abilities, obviously, right? And who knows, right? Because Goku and Vegeta could have been misgauging. They both thought Goku had enough power to generate to beat him. But, and I'm not saying he couldn't have generated that power, but who knows if that would have been enough is what I'm saying. But the point of me bringing this up is to tell you that in both the anime and the manga, Goku's power is rivaling Kid Buu for most of their fight. And then eventually Goku's health and stamina went down, and Kid Buu didn't get hurt at all. And that's in both continuities. So again, Goku willing to fight Kid Buu, but not Super Buu, Buu-Tanks, or Buuhan. And that is the same message that is being told in the story through both mediums, the anime and the manga. Now I'd like to cover a statement by Dragon Ball Z screenwriter Takao Koyama when answering a fan's question on Twitter. Which Buu do you think is the strongest? Now I'm sure a lot of you guys remember this. This was a big thing that was posted a few years back. I can't remember exactly when, I'm not gonna lie. But Koyama goes on to state truly on a Twitter post that Majin Buu, who absorbed Ultimate Gohan, is perhaps the strongest. And later on he goes on to tweet that he was just stating an opinion, but he's got the right opinion, right? Like here, I'm gonna give you guys another perspective. The Gray Buu was manifested from the evil of Fat Buu. Within the Fat Buu there was evil, and the Gray Buu was an image, an apparition of that evil. It was never a real version of Buu, but rather just the Buu that was conjured from that evil within the Fat Buu. And why do I bring this up? Because Kid Buu, right, is pure evil. And one could actually make an argument then that Kid Buu is on Gray Buu's power level, to be honest, right? So I don't know, you guys are tweaking right now, but listen, Gray Buu absorbs Fat Buu essentially, powers up, which is evident in the dialogue we went over earlier, with Piccolo feeling the change in Buu's ki when Super Buu is debuted. And on top of that fact, that Goku can feel Super Buu's ki from the Kaioken realm, but not the Gray Buus and not the Fat Buus. You have to think about this, right? Kid Buu plus the South Kai became stronger. The Kaioken obviously gave him more power. It just restricted him access to his evil power. And then Gray Buu is that evil, aka could be Kid Buu, if you want to argue that. So they both should be weaker than they previously were. And Gray Buu then absorbs the Fat Buu, becoming Super Buu. So now he has the access to the evil and he has the power of the Daikaioshin. Does that make sense? That's the way that I viewed it, and that's the way that it's meant to be viewed. And let's break down Super Buu, right? Here we go. Let's cover when he absorbs Gotenks. He's becoming Buu-tanks and he's powering up and he's beating Ultimate Gohan's ass, right? He's overpowering him dramatically. And Ultimate Gohan is stronger than Goku. Again, video in the corner. I have a video with tons of evidence. Just go check it out. But Ultimate Gohan, Mystic Gohan is stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku. This is without a doubt. I want you to think about something, right? Goku has never been scared to fight anyone before, at least not that I can recall where he's actually scared, besides when he is around Buu-tanks and Buuhan. Goku was scared to fight him, literally, and we've never seen this. Yeah, Goku might have had some fear going into some fights, but he's never been like, I'm not doing this unless we do a fusion. I'm not doing this unless... No, he's always still tried. But with Super Buu, Buu-tanks, and Buuhan, no, he's scared. But let's go ahead, let's bring up the big fight that everyone wants to talk about, is Buu-tanks versus Super Saiyan 3 Goku in the anime. And this is hilarious because this actually proves my point that Buuhan is stronger. Here, follow me, right? We see Super Saiyan 3 Goku struggling and he's nervous and not making damage happen to Buu-tanks. That's in the anime. In the manga, he's just looking super nervous, right? But he still is going to try to take him out while Gohan finds the Batara earring. And we could see clearly in this battle in the anime that Buu-tanks is just toying with a Super Saiyan 3 Goku, who we see later on he's going head to head with Kid Buu for a lot of their fight. This is in both the manga and the anime, and actually even in the anime, Goku looks more scared of Buu-tanks, but the battle's just interrupted early in the manga, so still the point does remain. And getting into the final stretch of this video, I want to cover the statements by the narrator and Goku stating how strong Kid Buu is. Listen, I need you guys to think. I need you guys to spread this message to fans that don't think and have them view this video, because it is a great breakdown and walkthrough of all the facts, and I think that I've articulated it pretty simply. What I'm trying to say is use your mind. Use critical thinking. Watch it as a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna watch Star Wars Return of the Jedi and then go watch Phantom Menace. Like, what? Like, no, I'm gonna watch 4, 5, and 6 and then 1, 2, 3, or if I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, come on. How are you gonna get the actual story of what's going on? And same here for Dragon Ball, right? Goku clearly in both the manga and the anime does not want to fight Super Buu at all costs. Okay, but for the sake of argument, say screw Super Buu, right? Let's say Kid Buu is stronger than Super Buu, which I believe he actually might be very close. There could be a debate for that. We're not going to get into that now, but there's no way he's stronger than Buuhan. Absolutely not. And I'm about to prove it again right here before we close out. Kid Buu is stronger than Super Buu in this fake hypothetical equation, right? Let's just say for shits and giggles, Kid Buu is stronger than Super Buu. In both the manga and anime, I want you to remember something. Goku was ready to fuse with even Mr. Satan, aka Hercule, and at first he thought it's going to make him weaker, but he's still, in the end, at the last second when Buuhan was counting down, felt that he had no other choice but to fuse with Hercule to fight Buuhan. And obviously that's till Vegeta came, of course, but regardless, that doesn't change the fact that he was about to fuse with Hercule to fight Buuhan. Do you understand that? Think about that. Like, literally slow down and think about that. Goku was so scared of Buuhan's power that he was willing to fuse with a character that might even make him weaker theoretically, because he felt that by himself he could not. But on the other hand, when Kid Buu is in front of him, he is confident that he's got a good chance of making this work. I keep saying it, but 2 + 2, guys. So do you see how it's mathing, y'all? Kid Buu, yes, he's very powerful. I'm not taking that away from him. And yes, it could be even argued that Kid Buu is around Gray Buu's level or Super Buu's level, whatever you want to say, but I don't agree with that. But point is you cannot put him on Buuhan's level. That's ridiculous. Goku is dead ass nervous and scared to fight any version of Super Buu. We have covered it multiple times, and there's multiple pieces of evidence for that. And again, think about it this way, common sense. You have Super Buu, you have Buuhan, who has Fat Buu, Ultimate Gohan, Piccolo, Goten, and Trunks absorbed, and all that power is added together. It's obvious that Buuhan will slap the shit out of Kid Buu. He has way more power. It doesn't matter that he can't access 100% of his evil, because based on statements by Piccolo and context clues throughout the show, display that Buuhan is stronger. And for those of you that want me to bring up the OOOO having God Ki development in Dragon Ball Super and how the God Ki was passed down to Buu from the Grand Kaioshin. Sure, I mean, if you want to argue that and include Super within your answer, I mean, you can make an argument how Kid Buu is stronger than Super Buu. Maybe Buu tanks, but he's still not beating Buuhan. It does not matter. Just because Kid Buu had access God Ki doesn't mean he had access to God Ki. Just like supposedly Fat Buu wasn't able to access the evil within him. Same idea. Just because you have the potential to be the greatest basketball player doesn't mean you're Michael Jordan. Look at the story narratively. The most this Super Rakan would put Kid Buu's power level is on maybe between Super Buu and Buu tanks, and I'm really being generous. But when looking at the story and its original content and its original form, going over everything in this video from statements to the guidebooks, if you look at the original manga and original anime from start to finish, from starting a quest with Bulma all the way to defeating Kid Buu, it is very apparent who the strongest form of Buu is. And Buuhan is the mightiest Majin. Hit that like button, please, and subscribe. Thank you guys for checking out the video. Really appreciate it. I know it was a long one. Tons of more content coming. Drop your comments, letting me know what you think about this debate, and letting me know what other debates you'd want me to cover. As always, here's my reminder to all of you. You are good enough. Do not give up and keep moving forward.